here from the Marshalltown Y, letting you know what we have going on here. Welcome back to school. We've got our after-school Fit Kid program starting today. It's open to youth kindergarten through 6th grade. They get bused here immediately after school. We give them a healthy snack, provide some activities and enrichments, have some park times. We offer camps when school's not in session on those schools out days from 7:15 to 5:30, pretty much any day that school's not in session. Registration's still open for those programs. Coming up for those that miss sports, we've got some flag football starting on Saturday, ages 4 to 8, with 2 sessions for 4 to 5-year-olds from 9 to 10 and 10 to 11, and then a 6 to 8-year-old session from 11 to noon. That is outside at the Cultural Center. In the field out front, it's $27 for Y members and $52 for non-Y members. And like I said, that starts this Saturday, ages 4 to 8. There's still a few spots available there. And we'll have 3rd through 6th grade volleyball starting on Thursday the 24th. That'll be 3rd and 4th grade on Thursday from 6 to 7, 5th and 6th grade from 7 to 8 here in the Horn Henry Center gym. That price is also $27 for Y members and $52 for non-members. We'll also have some basketball starting later this year. Plenty of things going on here at the Y. Pickleball. It's a great time to come in and use the gym. Masks are optional. If you have any questions or would like to register, you can call the Y at 641-752-8658 or check out our website at www.ymca-ywca.org.
In 2011, we had the windstorm that came through, and it did significant damage out here. We lost part of the roof over a portion of the jail, and it blew in the overhead garage doors and things like that. And well, I don't know if you can see that structure around our garbage things. You know, it blew away, and back then it even tossed those dumpsters all the way down to the fence. Wow. They just rolled like tin cans. And so anyway, I was anticipating an event like that again. Plus, of course, we lost power, and in 2011, the generator failed as well. So we had all kinds of issues. So I'm reliving 2011, but things went relatively well over here, other than, you know, we have the Test Iowa site out here, and that tent, failed, and the 53-foot supply trailer out there flipped over on 3 National Guard employee cars, and so we were housing the National Guard employees and the Test Iowa employees, in here for shelter, and then monitoring the calls that were going on in the county. Of course, there were plenty of calls coming in, and then there were radio system failures as well, and 911 system failures. So some calls, people were calling directly in here. There was an individual from Marshalltown that the daughter knew was trying to get back to Melbourne, and he'd called. He thought he was rolled in a ditch somewhere, but he didn't know where he was. So I was coordinating that, sending people, and then went out myself to look for him. And it turned out in the end, he hadn't even gotten out of Marshalltown. He was the crushed truck on Lincoln Way, if you saw that, where the tree fell on it, and he's got 3 back fractures, and we had a deputy over in State Center that it blew his patrol car. He was parked in a parking lot to deal with a call over at Casey's, and it physically blew his patrol car 5 feet sideways. And another deputy in a truck, the wind got underneath him and put him up on 2 wheels.
That'd be a rush.
Yeah. So that was kind of the experiences that we dealt with. And then I had part of my own family that got caught out in the storm as well that were calling me. They were in the area of Highland Acres Road and Lincoln Way when the trees started falling and the phone poles started blowing over, and so they drove down into a field drive and down into a field, and were, it was rocking the car, and tree limbs and stuff were blowing by, and debris was hitting the car. And
So what was your department's role in the wake of the storm?
so in the wake of the storm, we had different responsibilities. Of course, out in the rural area, we were out checking for the down power lines and the structure failures and the travel, but we also had some response in town as well. I had assisted the police department on a couple of different calls, and of course trying to get through town was very, very difficult between power lines and down trees, but fortunately that came to be resolved fairly quickly, where we were able to navigate through different areas of the city. Now, the difference in our response between 2018 with the tornado and this storm, we had a longer, more significant and longer duration presence in town. But of course, everybody was affected by this, where for the most part of our staff, we had a couple of staff members that were affected by the tornado. But this event, we were all dealing with the same issues that everybody else was, with our homes being without power and some people being without water, and, worrying about your food spoiling in your refrigerators and freezers, as well as, being responsible to come to work to go serve our role in the community.
Is there a number of like senior citizens that live out in the outlying areas that needed contacted, or?
Not so much. Obviously, our rural population has a tendency to be older as well. That's there's a mix of course, family-age people and elderly too. But we didn't have calls of that nature to go check on people in that respect.
That's good. Okay, let's talk about 9/11. What kind of memories do you have of that day?
I remember we were pregnant with one of my children, and I was serving in the Mid-Iowa Drug Task Force at the time, and I remember sitting on the edge of my bed watching the first plane hit the tower, and we were watching the news when the second plane hit the tower, and then obviously with the rest of the country and the rest of the world realized this is not just a tragic accident, and then have that overwhelming sense of oh my gosh, what are we in for, and what's going on, and what are we bringing our child into. That was we were expecting our first child. And then, serving in public safety, and then find, the aftermath of the collapse, and knowing that there's going to be, hundreds or thousands of people that weren't going to make it out of that, and just that sense of helplessness, where you want to go help those people, and then knowing that we're in the heartland, the sense of the potential, if terrorist organizations could reach out to the heartland of America, what kind of message could that send? So recognizing that we have our own responsibilities here.
What were your thoughts when you were watching law enforcement on TV having to deal with that in New York?
Well, beyond the terrible sense of loss, just the understanding the communications issues and challenges, and then of course those surfaced from then, and we've been dealing with those types of issues ever since, trying to make sure that the buzzword is interoperability, to make sure that those different disciplines have the ability to talk to each other, to coordinate responses. And here, 19 years later, we're still struggling with those types of issues.
Hi, my name is Pat Thompson. I'm a public health nurse for Marshall County, and it's always good to be here sharing what I know about public health activities and how to stay healthy and how we can help take care of other people. So, we're still in the midst of the COVID thing. Surprise, surprise, it hasn't gone away yet, and we know it won't for a long time. We just have to, you probably want to shoot me, but actually we just have to realize that so that we're not disappointed. I always think of way back in the day when friends of mine would be pregnant and they knew they were going to have their babies early, and I think that's crazy. Plan on having it late so you're pleasantly surprised. And so that's what we need to do with this COVID thing, is be pleasantly surprised that it's moving out. It'll take a while. We know that it won't be gone until we start getting vaccinations going, until we have a vaccine to prevent COVID infection, the virus. And that's a ways off yet, because we want a safe, effective vaccine. So we need to just sit back and let it happen, because there are very, very many smart people trying to figure this out for us, and that's what we count on. So it's heading towards fall. It's September, and fall always brings about the conversations of flu vaccine, the seasonal flu, which it's every year public health is all about flu vaccine and preventing flu, and we know that flu is here year round. We just have a greater chance of being infected with it as we go inside and actually congregate. We all know what the word congregate means nowadays, don't we, with the COVID. When we congregate, we have a greater chance of passing along viruses and other germs. So this year, maybe there will be less of a flu season, or not as many people infected. We can always hope, and that would only be because people have their flu vaccine, and also they're protecting themselves by staying home if they're sick. Remember these things: stay home if you're sick, cover your cough, wash your hands. And we're seeing a lot of that happening now. That's what we do, and we're becoming very, very good at it, aren't we, of how do we take care of ourselves that way. Continue that practice, and when the flu vaccine is available, and I think it is available in Marshalltown if you're interested in getting it now. They say to get it as soon as you can. Don't wait. There's no reason to wait. The vaccine is effective the whole season. Get your flu vaccine and get it done, and call around if you have a need for it sooner or earlier than usual, because there may be some available in town, but I just haven't called to ask yet. So I know I don't have it in public health yet, but I will. And when I do, I'll be telling people about it and encourage you to get your flu vaccine at your healthcare provider. Our pharmacies have it here in town, and they're always good about giving it to you. And or in places of work also do that. So take advantage of it, especially if you get it for no charge. All right. We have to remember too that when you get the flu vaccine, you're protecting more than just yourself. You're protecting people that can't get the vaccine. Our little babies can't get the vaccine until they're 6 months old, and no one wants a little baby sick with the flu. And so by getting your vaccine, you're helping protect other people that can't, and that's much appreciated. So we'll just see what the flu season is like. We'll learn, in 1 year, we'll know way more than we do right now. So luckily, right? So our conversations, the cooler weather at the moment, I hear it's going to warm up again, but the cooler weather at the moment feels kind of good, actually. I was getting a little tired of the heat and humidity, but we don't want summer to end yet either, or miss some of those activities. So it's good to have a little change in the season, and it kind of I think that's what I'm enjoying about it, is it's a change in what we're doing rather than the same old, same old. So I'm learning to make the best of where I'm at and what's going on. So next week when it's warmer and it's, more comfortable outside, to be outside, then that'll be good too. That'll be another nice change. So this is a time too to think about what you're going to be doing for the holidays. I said that, and people really don't want to hear the words I say about it, but be prepared that the holidays may not look exactly the same. So you may have smaller groups of people and not congregate so much, and consider who is part of your group and how to keep them all safe, because that's our job too, is to think of others outside of ourselves too. What do they need for protection from seasonal flu and COVID-19 and any other little germs we carry around with us. And so, look at what your holidays are going to be like and help make some decisions early. And you'll be always planning makes us less disappointed. At least it does for me. So kind of joyfully think about what are we going to do this year and how are we going to do this maybe differently because we have to. So it'll be kind of a interesting year for us all, if not just one, but all of us. Back to COVID-19, which the conversation never ends, it feels like, especially in public health. We are preparing for giving flu vaccines, even as we speak, even though a vaccine has not been fully approved, developed, that type of thing. They're working on it, and we're grateful for that. When that's available, you'll learn all about it. And what I want people to do is actually, when the flu vaccine's available and it's your turn to get it, because it's not going to be for everybody all at once, it just can't happen, we'll look at who needs it the most first, and then we'll just go down the line and try to help take care of everybody. But when it's available for your needs or where you're at in our little pattern, please get it then. I've had some people say, oh, I don't want to be first, I don't want to, I want to see how it works, what happens. It's going to be the same vaccine, okay? That's not changing. Believe me, they're not going to make a new one, a little bit later. It's the same vaccine, just 3 months down the line. So get it, and let's get protection started. It takes at least 2 weeks for your body to respond to any vaccine, to develop the immunity that you need. And with actually with our H1N1, with our seasonal flu vaccine, anybody under the age of 7 needs 2 shots in the same year, about a month apart, in order to have the full protection. So you can't expect the very same thing with this one here with COVID, that'll require 2 shots. It'll be a rare thing if it only requires 1. So be prepared for that. Be prepared to come back and get the second one. When you're in public health and you give vaccines, or anybody that gives vaccines goes, oh my gosh, how will we get people to come back? Please help us out and come back, because the more people we have with 2 shots, that if they're needed, the better off we all are. Okay, you don't quite get the whole benefit of even having the first one if you don't have the second one. That's the way we should think of it. If I had the first one, I need to get the second one, or why did I, some ways, bother? Okay, I know it's maybe not what we want to hear, but that's kind of what it is. So get the 2 shots as needed, because that's just like any other medication that you would take. You wouldn't take just half a dose. You would take the whole thing as required to get the best benefit. So that's what we're looking at. So there'll be more information about that. And as you can expect, that the people that are doing health care will be the first people to get the vaccine, because we want them to stay well so they can take care of people, and they just keep working down our plan. And that will be given to us actually by the CDC through IDPH to local public health agencies and those entities that help make this all better for us. And in the beginning too, it'll be actually to close pods is what we call it, point of distribution, and we go to nursing homes, places like that, and we would try to, instead of mixing people together, because look, we're in COVID-19, so we just can't have a great big, come on in and get your flu shot and stand in line. It's good. So that even complicates it more, doesn't it? So there'll be some safety measures that need to be taken, and we would appreciate it so much. I would appreciate it. It'll be to your benefit if we all work together to make it so it works out the best. And I'll let you know. We'll learn all about it. And we'll all learn together about a lot of this. So when the vaccine's available, please get it, because that's how we're going to be loosened from these binds, these ties that bind us, type of thing. And we can get back out there in the real world. It kind of makes you think how we've changed so much and how well we've really done. I know people, I always am impressed, because I've even said the words, oh, I hate change. But actually, we're very good at it. We do it all the time. That's one thing that never changes, is change. And I think we do much better than we think, and we need to give ourselves a credit for that and know that we can make this work. Not always fun, not always pleasant at all, but necessary in many, many cases. I want to talk to you about masks. Thank you for wearing them. I'm going to say that. When I wear my mask, I'm protecting you, and when you're wearing yours, you're protecting me. It's me giving to you when I wear my mask. And so I really appreciate it when you wear yours. A mask does stop, all of our breathing or exhalations or our air getting next to people. How do I say this? I just can't say this very elegantly, but that's the whole point, is not breathing each other's air, and it slows it down. It's not 100%. So when we say, we ask people to keep 6 feet apart and not be close to someone for longer than 15 minutes, please. And whether you have a mask or not on, whether you have a mask on, you would still be considered a contact because it's not 100% like what we have in hospitals or when we have at doctor's office or when we're doing cares that are when you need to be close to each other. It helps prevent infection. So wearing the mask is not 100%, but it decreases the risk. That's how we have to think of it. Standing 6 feet away decreases your risk. And don't we all find ourselves a little closer? And I back up. I'm talking to someone and enjoying the conversation, and you just kind of inch a little bit, back up. It's okay. And we all understand that, and we just have to make that space because it's important. For one thing, if you're in a situation where you're in a group and someone in that group, and this is not, we always know it's not on purpose, but someone in the group has COVID-19, and it comes back to where they're trying to decide who that person may have infected. If you're further than 6 feet away, and not if you are closer, it's not more than 15 minutes, your risk is considered lower, and you're not considered a contact. So that's the first question I ask is, so how close were you closer than 6 feet? How long were you closer than 6 feet? And if you're all those parameters, then you're not considered a contact, and that makes a huge difference in how we prevent the spread of COVID-19, or any virus actually. So we're going to get to really learn a lot about this. So if you are closer than 6 feet to someone for 15 minutes or more at a time, we would consider you a contact, and we would ask you to recommend, please stay home 14 days. And the reason for the 14 days is because that's the incubation period of COVID-19, and we want to make sure that you did not catch it, or another word for it is infected by that person that has it. And that means that if you stay home and are not around other people, if you end up having symptoms of having COVID, that you did catch it, there's less people infected, totally. So stay home, please, and help with that 14 days. It's no one knows how long 14 days is until you've sat through it, right? And nothing's harder for me to say than you need to stay home for 14 days. It's a tough one because it causes everybody to go, that affects this and this and this and this. And that means no dance lessons, that means no sports, that means staying home from birthday parties, and they don't have parties at your house because we don't want you to, if you start having symptoms, it goes back to the old thing here of figuring out when you were infective and calling those people, and they have to go through the 14 days, so it can go on and on. So that's why we ask you to do that, please. Yeah, it's a tough one. Now, I've had the questions too, well, how come this is 10 days and this is 14 days? And I would say those are very good questions. Those are really good questions, and please call me and ask because, we think, well, these are simple rules, 10 days and 14 days, and this is easy, but every one of them is individual. I'm amazed. When I get a phone call, we just have to sort it out to find out what really needs to happen to find out who really needs to stay home, because we don't want anybody staying home that doesn't have to. That's not the goal. It's to try to make this work the best we can. So someone that has COVID-19 or coronavirus, and they're diagnosed, so if you have symptoms of coronavirus and you think, I think I need a test, if you think you need a test, you need to stay home. Okay, first of all, if you have symptoms, you need to stay home. There's two things right there. And if you have the test done, you stay home until you get the results of your tests, because that's not very fair to walk around with it, possibly, and then, and then wait for the results. If you're tested, you need to stay home. And if you're going to have a test, stay home. I'm going to have one, I think I'm scheduled to have it this date. You don't go anywhere if you think you need a test, all right? Okay, you stay home. The exception to that may be, I've had people call me that they're going on a trip and it's required that they have a test. Now that's a little bit different circumstances, totally, okay? But actually, if you've had a test at any time, I still recommend that you stay home till you get results. And remember, Test Iowa is still here. Last date I heard was October 4th, and they're out at the sheriff's office parking lot in front, and talk about changes in weather for them. Oh my gosh. I think about the extremes of weather, except we haven't had a blizzard yet, so they can kind of count that one off, I think. They did have a derecho. It's been amazing what they've gone through outside. So anyway, so if you end up with COVID-19, you're diagnosed with that, you need to stay home, please. It's recommended, don't go to work, please, because you will infect other people, for 10 days. So from the 10 days from the onset of symptoms, or if you have no symptoms, 10 days from the date of the test. And so it's at least 10 days, and the last 24 hours of your 10 days has to be without a fever, and that means no Tylenol or anything like that, a fever just because you don't have a fever, and then improving symptoms. Now, as you're going, if you have COVID-19 or you know someone that has it, I get very concerned because I've had people call me and they sound terrible on the phone, and I say, you need to call your healthcare provider. If you're getting along with COVID-19, your symptoms are getting worse or not getting better, you need to call your healthcare provider and tell them what's going on. Especially day 5, day 7 in there, you should be getting a little bit better. But if you're having shortness of breath, your healthcare provider needs to know that, all right? And if you feel like you need to go to the emergency department, by all means go, and make sure you tell them that I'm coming in, call ahead of time, I'm coming in, I've been diagnosed with COVID, and I'm having troubles breathing, because they want to take care of you, but they also, in fairness, you need to let them know that you're coming in with that too. It's just how we take care of everybody. So that explains the 10 days and the 14 days, and it gets goofed around more times than you can ever imagine. So don't hesitate to call me and let me know if you have questions, because I can help you sort it out, and and if I don't know the answers, I know people to call, and that's the most important thing too, is call people who can help make decisions on it, because there's amazing how many calls I really have to make because of a little change in circumstance, but just to verify. So I'm not afraid to do that. And that's what I do to help take good care of you and give you the best knowledge that I have anyway. So I'm going to take a peek here. Oh, masks. I want to make sure that wearing masks are, they're just to help take care of each other. So please wear your mask. I'd love it if you'd wear it in front of me, and I promise to wear mine in front of you. And if I haven't got it on, oh my gosh, that's so wrong. I catch myself every now and then going into a store and I think, oh, I don't have my mask on. I have it always with me in my bag and get it on real quick because I'm enjoying my day, I guess. But my intention is to wear my mask, and I always catch myself before I get in the door. But that's what we all need to do. And when you wear your mask, it needs to cover your nose and your mouth, because guess what? That's breathing. My air is coming out both my nose and my mouth, right? And we're going to have to learn, because I've kind of watched people to see if I can tell if they're smiling by looking at their eyes, type of thing. And just kind of share that so we can, because we need those smiles, don't we? I'm home a lot. I work from home. And I need that, a little bit of that connectiveness of going to I don't go out often, it's just for groceries, but when I do that, I get to see some faces and some eyes, and that's very good for me, very good for me. So if I see at the store, and I'm getting so I can recognize some people, but don't hesitate to say something, and because I enjoy that, and I need that just like everybody else does. That would be a very good idea. Craig says to, Of course, we need to have healthy diets, make healthy choices. Yes, yes, we do know that, but sometimes we have to be reminded of that, including myself. And getting our rest is so important. I think that's why I'm kind of liking the shorter days. Can you believe I'm saying this? Because it puts me to bed a little bit sooner. I don't know, but anyway, also planning for maybe some healthier choices at Christmas time or during the holidays and Thanksgiving and all that stuff, making some healthier choices. And that doesn't mean you can have a nibble of this or that, because that's okay. That's the fun of the holidays. But it's all about portion size, you know. I guess that, yeah, I want to say size matters, and your food portions, size matters there too, right? So, right, we just need to make sure that we're using good judgment, and then, because in January, we really don't have to wish we hadn't. How's that? That's how I live my life. Ooh, wish I hadn't done that, but so try to limit some of that stuff, but still get some good bites in. It doesn't hurt at all, but like they say, step away from the table, the grazing table type of thing, and sometimes our hors d'oeuvres or our snacks before the meal is finished. It amazes me what things we have on the table before Thanksgiving, and it's a great big meal at Thanksgiving, and we're eating all this snacky stuff ahead of time, and I think, oh man, I'm stuffed before I even get stuffed. But anyway, so it's really, it is about maintaining our health. And I want to tell you too, during this time when we're going through these stressors, and that, you know, we all go through a different stressor all the time, you know, whether school's starting, you know, someone with children in school and all the activities they're trying to do and work and that type of stuff have some different stressors than what I have without children in school, but I have my own. And so we know that at different times we're going through different things, and we really need to take care of our immune system by getting our sleep and eating healthy and limiting alcohol and all those things that we know don't contribute to a longer life. How's that sound? And so paying attention to that is really, really important. In fact, this is also a time when actually I finally got all my doctor visits in that were canceled, you know, from March on. And so I'm a clean bill of health until a year from now. And you need to also do that. You know, make your appointments. If you haven't rescheduled, be sure you get that done. And it may be a little bit better time now because kids are in school, so those school physicals and that type of stuff may be all caught up, so there may be more room for you to get in. And we as an adults have immunizations that are important, such as Tdap, which protects against pertussis, number one, really important, and diphtheria and tetanus. And we also need our shingles vaccine when you're a certain age, and that is very, very important, because as our immune systems go down, we have a greater chance of having shingles break out. Fall's starting and it's all good, and we'll enjoy those fall activities and just kind of hunker down for winter after the holidays. So find your joy, find your peace, because that will help. And until next time, bye-bye.